Hi, my name is Suren. I'm a UI designer from Design School.
This is the fitness app that we're going to design from scratch in Sketch. We're going to recreate the design in dark mode, and it's going to focus on the navigation experience in iOS 16. Many designers are struggling with the navigation of their app. It should be familiar and intuitive. In iOS, your content should be structured based on the type, information, hierarchy, and by using navigation elements like the tab bar, navigation bar, and modal presentation. The tab bar is the most used menu in iOS. It's placed at the bottom, categorizing an app's content into different sections. It reflects your information hierarchy and help people orient as they interact with your apps. The tab bar represents your top-level content that's branched out into more specific content. Each type should be descriptive and communicate your app's theme. For example, fitness, training, awards. Avoid using home with repetitive functionality because it can lead to confusion. Instead of using home, you can navigate directly to each content type. A floating action button performs the most common action on the screen placed within the tab bar or above. It appears in front of the screen content as a circular shape with a plus icon. A navigation bar provides a natural place to display a screen title and action button specific to the screen or for navigating to a previous screen. There are two common forms of transition when navigating between screens. By default, there is a push transition from right to left. A modal are great for short iterations. Presents just enough information to make quick decisions and complete a self-content task. They can take the whole screen or a portion of the screen. Thanks to Sketch sponsorship, this course is 100% free. Sketch is one of the best design tools for iOS design because Apple provides the UI kit. It's fully native, has real-time collaboration, developer handoff, and prototyping. To follow this course, make sure to install Sketch and download the asset file. You're going to need to create an account, and it's free to try. You will also need the SF font, the SF symbol for the iOS UI kit. I recommend that you watch this video to learn more about navigation. It has all the necessary resources to guide you about iOS navigation. In this section, we're going to talk about content structure. Your app's content should be divided into tabs based on the content type. Each tab starts with the top-level content and branches out into more specific content. Your menu should be describing your app at a glance. For example, fitness, training, awards. Avoid using home, which tend to make the other tab repetitive and navigation confusing. So we're going to design the first screen of the fitness app in dark mode with a custom grid layout using a beautiful material sheet. Then we will design a custom tab bar with a floating action button, giving a crystal effect like this. So let's get started. When you first start using Sketch, it will bring you to the workspace window where you will find your design file and your theme file. So let's open the new document to start the new design. We will need an artboard. Artboard are the screen of your app. Since this is in dark mode, we're going to use a dark purple for the screen background. To create an artboard, press A and choose iPhone 13 Pro. Add a fill color for the background. Apple made a UI kit for Sketch, which is useful for components like the status bar and the home indicator. This saves you time from recreating them from scratch. So download the Sketch library and don't forget to activate the checkbox. Go to Insert, the plus icon, search for status bar, and select Dark for iPhone. Align layer to center, top. Search for home indicator, select dark bottom, iPhone. Align layer to center, bottom. Let's create a navigation bar. We're going to create an avatar and account icon in the top portion of the screen. Let's begin with the avatar. Press O and hold Shift. Draw a circle 32 by 32. Change the fill color for the pattern fill. Then choose the image of your avatar. You can download any face on Unsplash or use my avatar from access file. Remove the border Draw another circle 44 by 44 to create a nice border. Border color is white. Add the blending mode to overlay with 1. Name border, and this one is going to be avatar. Put the border on the back of your avatar. Select the 2-layer and align center. Group together by pressing Command G and rename the group to avatar. X position is 20, Y position is 63. Now let's create the account icon. You will need the SF symbol for app for this section. SF symbol is library of 4,000 icon by Apple. So download, search for person, and take the person's circle.fill. Command C to copy. Duplicate the avatar group by Command D. Remove the avatar image. Press T to create a text and pass the person symbol. Use SF Pro Regular 17 with white color, opacity 50, X position 326, Y position 63, and rename account. Let's create the blurred circles. To create a colorful glass effect in the background, we need to blur 2 circles. Create a circle by pressing O and hold Shift to create a proportional circle 216 by 216, X position 13 and Y position 121. Add a linear gradient with 2 colors. The top color is and the bottom color. Decrease the opacity to 60%. Remove the border. Duplicate the circle for the second block and change the color. So Command D, change the color for and the bottom. Increase the opacity to 100. X position 153 and Y position 283. Now it's time to create a circular progress. A progress ring is a visual indicator that shows how far you are in completing a task, such as a workout or filling out a form. Let's begin with the background blur. Create a circle 480 by 480. X position -84, Y position 37. Remove fill and border. Add a background blur to 40. Rename the oval layer background blur. Put the account and avatar at the top like this. Let's create the progress ring. Create a border 444 by 444. X position -29 and Y position is 58. Remove the fill. Border put black with 20% opacity. For the width 8. Rename border. Now let's duplicate the border and add linear gradient. The top color is going to be this blue and the bottom is going to be this blue, but decrease the opacity to 0. And let's rotate at the top right like this. Set the stroke to center. Set the dash to 952. And for the gap, 1400. Select the end type with the round shape and rotate to 90 degrees. Let's fix the gradient and put it back like this. Rename ring. To make the design more interesting, let's combine 4 dash stroke. Create a stroke 380 by 380. Uncheck the fill, border white, and width 4. Select the dash 2 and gap 8. Border is going to be center. Select the end type and join to round shape. Bring a little bit at the middle. Duplicate the same stroke and resize to 368 by 368. Command K to resize proportionally with 3. Center. Repeat with a size of 260 by 260 with 2. Add the blending mode to overlay. Duplicate the same stroke. Command D and resize to 368 by 368. Let's center a little bit, but this time with the width of 3. So repeat Command D and resize to 360 by 360 with a width of 2. Center a little bit. And repeat the last stroke Command D with the size of 352 by 352 with the width of 1. Select the 4 stroke and align center and group together. Command G
rename stroke. For the X position 5 and for the Y position 88. Now let's create a beautiful wave that shows the heart rate. Using the vector tool, click and drag to curve the line to create a wave shape and play with the curve. X position -13 and Y position 266. Set the border to 1 and add linear gradient. First color is going to be this blue and the bottom color is going to be this purple. Add the blending mode to overlay. Duplicate and rotate by -2 degrees and repeat 6 times. On the last wave, edit the line by pressing Enter and close path. Then play with the point. There you go. Now set the fill gradient. For the top color is going to be this blue, and for the bottom color is going to be this gray, 0 opacity. Remove the border, and we can play a little bit like this. We're going to duplicate the bottom layer of this close path. Take the second stroke and duplicate and bring to the top of this close path. Then we're going to add the blur to 5. Let's rotate to 9 instead. My wave is done. Group together, Command G, rename looper. Now let's create this glue. Create a circle 10 by 10. Fill color is this blue. The border is white with 40% opacity. Then duplicate the same of all. Add blur to 4. My glue is done. Group together and rename glow and place right there or anywhere you want. Now let's add the text content and I'm going to use the SF Pro Expanded. Make sure to install the SF font from Apple. For the text, I use Expanded because there's a lot of empty space and it's expressive and easy to read. I enlarge the text in the middle to give focus on that number. Let's write heart rate. Center, option and drag, right, 120, drag again, that's right, BMP. For this text, you will need the SF symbol from Apple and search for HUD. So copy this HUD, Command C and Command V. For the first and third text, use SF Pro Expanded Medium 17 and it's already white by default. And for the second text, use Banded Bold 64. The spacing between the heart rate and the 120 is 24, and the spacing between this number and the third text is 8. Select the three texts, align center, Command G to group, and rename heart rate content. X position is 124, and Y position is 115. My text is done. Now let's create these RTVD cards. We are using card to showcase glanceable information in small, attractive container about calorie, steps, sleep, etc. Create a rectangle by pressing R, 164 by 210. Fill color is this dark blue, stroke white, and background blur 10. Corner radius 30. Border, add the blending mode to overlay. X position 10, Y position 411. Add the blending mode to overlay on the fill as well. Right canary and use SF Pro Expanded Semi-Bold 11 and make sure to align 16 from the left and 16 from the top. Add the flame symbol, search for flame. Take with the fill, Command C to pass here at the right. So press T, Command V, add a fill color. And it's same spacing as the text. So click on option, 16 from the top and 16 from the left. I'm going to create this first card, and for the rest, I already prepared these components so you can use them on my asset file because it's a repetitive step. Create a border by pressing O, 12 by 104. Remove the fill, add linear gradient, top color and bottom color is with A, decrease the opacity to 30 and rename border. Duplicate the same border, Command D, and put 100% opacity. Adjust the border property, select the dash to 162 and gap 348. Select the end type and the joint to round shape. And for the border is center. Rename ring. Group together, Command G, and rename ring. Drag 312 with white color and use Asset Pro bold 34. And for the second text, write kcal or calorie. This time is going to be 11. Select both text center and group. Let's align with the ring. So align center. So the first curve is done. For the rest, all you need to do, go to the symbol, insert water, and place. I'm going to make it fast. There you go, my car is done. Group everything together. Command G, rename car. Make sure to put the home indicator and status bar at the top. Now it's time to create the tab bar. The tab bar is for navigating the main top level section of your app. It's placed at the bottom of the screen and is useful for quickly switching content type. Let's create a custom shape for the tab bar body with nice curve. Create a rectangle by pressing R, 390 by 88, remove fill, border white on width, add background blur to 24, center and center bottom. Let's add the blending mode to overlay for the border. Press enter to edit and add a point in the middle. And we will add second point at the left and the third point to the right with 45 spacing on each side. You will need the ruler, so go to View, Canvas, and Show Ruler. The middle is 195, so 195 minus 45 pixel is 150, and 195 plus 45 is 240. And add the point left and right. Select the midpoint and drag to 793. Set the corner radius to 78 and select the two middle point to 40. Hold Shift and Command and select the left and right point and drag down to 766 and set corner radius to 28 and finish editing. Let's add the tab item. You will need the tab bar from the UI kit for this section if you want to save time. All you need to do is change the symbol from SF symbol and the text label. Go to Insert, the plus icon, search for tab, and select Apple iOS tab bar compact bar. You will need the symbol figure.run, bookfill, trophy.fill, and person.fill to change the symbol. Double-click on the tab, click on Unlink from Library, change the symbol directly on the symbol section. You can change the text label directly on the right panel. So to make it fast, I'm going to copy directly from my component that I created already for you. Double-click, Command C, and I'm going to pass here. Do the same thing. We're going to change the name. Then change the tint color to white instead. And you can go back and the design is changed. Next, we're going to take off the background. Select the tab item, click on the background and click no symbol and the background disappears. Select the tab item and the tab body, align center. Now let's create this floating action button. The floating action button is generally used to promote the most common action within a user interface screen. Let's create a custom floating action button giving a crystal effect. For this section, I will show you quick steps and it's repetitive, but I have already prepared this on my asset file. Create a main circle 70 by 70. Let's position 160. And for the Y position is 705. Remove fill and border. Add the first inner shadow with this color. Decrease the opacity to 15. For the X position is 1, 1, 1 everywhere. Add the second inner shadow with white color. And for the X position is 3. Y position minus 3. And the blur is 10. Add the blending mode to overlay. Add the background blur 2. And saturation 7%. Create another oval 26 by 42. Rotate to minus 22 degree. And for the X position is 159. And for the Y position is 727. Remove border, edit the right point and make a curve like this. Bring this oval on the bottom of the main circle to make like a blurry shape. So for the first color, it's going to be this red, and the second is going to be this purple, but with zero opacity. Create another circle, play with the left and right point. Take off the border, set the fill gradient, take this blue, and the bottom is going to be this blue, but with 0%. Let's bring at the back of this background blur. And by the way, for this shape, I will decrease to 80%. For this blue, let's rotate the gradient like this. Repeat 6 times and change the rotation, color, position, and create different shape. For the rest, I'm going to make it fast. The crystal is done. Now let's add the text label. Press P and write Go with all capital letters. Use SF Pro Condensed Bold 24 and put at the middle. Take the text and the main oval to align center like this. So select everything together. Command G, name the group Floating Action Button. Now let's add the floating action button and the top bar together. So make sure it's at the top of the top bar. Select all the layer, Command G to group together and rename top bar. It's a little bit too dark, so let's add some color on the background. Create a circle at the bottom and make sure to put completely at the bottom. Remove the border. Set the color to this purple and add the blur to 50. You can play with the corner to make some contrast with the crystal, the car, the tab bar, and the action button. Maybe like this. There you go. We just create the first screen together. A navigation bar provides a natural place to display a screen title, helping people orient themselves in your apps. In this section, we're going to design a top navigation date segment control progress ring with same technique as the previous screen and the progress bar for the steps. Let's create a top navigation using back button, title, and action button. In this section, you will need the SF symbol. To duplicate the first screen, hold Option and drag. All you need to do is delete the rest of the element and keep the status bar and home indicator. There you go. Use the SF symbol for the back button. Search for chevron and pick this one. Command C. So press T and Command B. Use SF Pro Medium 22. Let's position this left chevron, X position 20, and Y position 56. Voila. Repeat for the gear shape dot fill symbol. Search for gear and take this one. Command C. Let's position this symbol. X position 350 and Y position 59. Now let's add the title. Right steps. We use SF Pro Expanded Semi-Bold 17 and align center. Now select all the element together and align layer to middle. And now Command G to group together and rename top navigation. Now let's create the segmented control. Create a rectangle 350 by 48, center corner radius 24, fill color black, decrease the opacity to 50%, border white, one width, and overlay. Make sure the border is center. Now let's create another rectangle for the selected button. 102 by 40, corner radius 24. For the position, make sure to have full spacing from the left, top, and bottom. Fill color dark blue. Remove the border. Now let's add the text. So press T, write day, use SF Pro Expanded Semi-Bold 15, select the text and the rectangle and align center and group together, Command J and name date. Duplicate this layer 2 more times and change the text for weeks and month. This one is going to be week and this one is going to be month. Make sure for the month have the same spacing as the day. So you should have 4 from the top, bottom, and right. And align the week to center. So for the week and month, we're going to hide the rectangle and keep the day because the day is the selected button. If you want to change for week, you can just hide this one and show this rectangle. Use right text for the selected button and decrease the opacity to 60% for the other text. So let's change for 60%. There you go. Then regroup everything together, Command G, and rename date segment. Now let's create the date picker and the selected button with a vibrant gradient. Create a rectangle 44 by 70, corner radius 22, remove the border, add linear gradient. For the top color, it's going to be this orange and the bottom, this pink. Let's center. We're going to start by writing a date, Wednesday, and use SF Pro medium 15, and I'm going to write 8. Use regular instead. The spacing between the number and the date is 2. Group the text and select the rectangle, align center again. So group one more time, Command D, and rename the day. For example, let's name Wednesday. Now duplicate 6 times and write the date depending on which day you want to start. So I'm going to duplicate 3 times from the left with spacing of 7, and let's change the number and the day. I'm going to make it fast. Now let's hide the other rectangle. For my selected button is going to be on Wednesday, so hide the other rectangle. Hit white for the selected date and put 60% opacity for the rest text label. Now group everything together, Command G, and name date picker. For the X position is 20, and for the Y position is 160. Let's create another style of circular progress. This time we're going to make it simpler and play with the opacity using white color to make a gradient circle effect. So let's create the first circle by pressing O, 240 by 216. For the fill color, let's take this purple, remove the border, add blur to 50, position 75, and Y position 325. This circle is going to be the lightning effect at the middle. Let's create the second circle, 426 by 426. Fill with white color, 10 opacity, remove the border, and for the position is -18 and 219. Now let's create another circle, 350A by 350A, X position 16, and Y position 254 with color white decrease to 15. Remove border. For the circle, add the blending mode to overlay. There you go. Take the stroke from the progress ring on the first screen, option and drag and bring here. I'm going to resize to 276, X position 57, and Y position 294. Create a border 218 by 218. Remove fill. For the width is going to be 60. Let's adjust the border property. For the dash is going to be 654, and for the gaps 688, and for the end and join type is going to be round shape. And make sure that the border is center. Let's rotate this circle to 90 degrees. Then let's add horizontal linear gradient. So for the right color, it's going to be this purple. And for the length, it's going to be this blue. But we're going to decrease to 0 opacity. Let's hide a little bit like this. And put this oval on the back of the stroke. The position 86 and Y position 325. Let's change the color to black instead. And let's decrease to 50% opacity. Now let's add the text. Write 3500 and use the Pro Expanded Bold 64 and put at the middle. And let's write steps. This time use the Pro Expanded Medium 17. And decrease the opacity to 60%. And for the spacing between the two texts is 8 and group Command G. And let's group the other circle together and name circular. For this one is going to be step. Select the two group and align center. Let's add this lightning effect. So create a circle 240 by 240. Remove the border. Add linear gradient. For the top color is going to be this pink and the second is going to be purple. Let's rotate a little bit like this. X position 300 and Y position 268. Add blur to 50 and make sure to put the oval at the back of the circular like this. The circular is done. Now we're going to create a card for the step state with minute, calories, and distance. Create a rectangle 350 by 102, corner radius 26. Let's fill the color with this one. Add the blending mode to overlay. Border is white. Add blending mode overlay as well. And make sure the border is center. Add background blur to 10, X position 20, and Y position 614. You will need the clock symbol. Take the clock dot fill and paste here, Command V, and use SF Pro condense semi-bold element and fill with this purple. Next, let's write the second text. You can write any random number, let's say 25 minutes. The color is white and it's going to be SF Pro expanded bold 20. Next, let's write time. Use SF Pro medium 11 and decrease the opacity to 60%. The spacing from this symbol and the number is 2, and the spacing between this number and the time is 5. And let's align center and group Command G. The spacing from the left is 28. Select the two elements and align middle. Let's duplicate 2 more times. For the right, the spacing is the same, so 28 from the right. All you need to do is change the text and the symbol. Let's search for flame symbol. Take the flame dot fill and replace Command V and change the color for this pink. And let's change the text for 150. And here is going to be calories. Next, search for location. Take the location dot circle dot fill for the distance and paste right here. Then change the color for this blue. Then change for any random number. Let's say 4.8 kilometer. And here we're going to change for distance. Don't forget to group everything together. This one is. Now let's create a simple progress bar for the steps. Create a rectangle 272 by 20. Set the corner radius to 10. And for the X position 20, Y position 774. Take this color. And for the border is white. Let's add the overlay with one width. Add the background blur to 10. Duplicate the same rectangle, Command D, and decrease the width to 160. Add the linear gradient. Take this color. And for the bottom, this pink. Remove the border. Let's add the blending mode for the fill color as well. And for the border is center. Group together, Command G, rename progress bar. Now let's add the text on the top. Now let's write progressing using SF Pro expanded semi-bold 17. And let's position text X position 20 and Y position 741. Make sure the spacing from the left is 20. So let's duplicate this text and chain for goal, chain for right alignment. For the goal, the position is 319 with the same Y position. Next, let's write kilometer. I'm going to drag down and chain for, let's say 10 kilometer, chain for 15. Select the kilometer and decrease the opacity to 60%. Same thing for the goal, decrease to 60. Make sure that the spacing is 20 as well. Now let's select everything and group together, Command G, and rename progress bar again. And voila, we just create the second screen from scratch. Going to be a minute. This one is going to be calories. And this one is going to be kilometer. So let's group everything together, Command G. Let's rename step. The car is done. Now let's create a simple progress bar for the steps. Create a rectangle 272 by 20. Set the corner radius to 10. And for the X position 20, Y position 774. Take this color. And for the border is white. Let's add the overlay with one width. Add the background blur to 10. Duplicate the same rectangle, Command D, and decrease the width to 160. Add the linear gradient. Take this color. And for the bottom, this pink. Remove the border. Let's add the blending mode for the fill color as well. And for the border is center. Group together, Command G, rename progress bar. Now let's add the text on the top. Now let's write progressing using SF Pro expanded semi-bold 17, and let's position text X position 20 and Y position 741. Make sure the spacing from the left is 20. So let's duplicate this text and chain for goal, chain for right alignment. For the goal, the position is 319 with the same Y position. Next, let's write kilometer. I'm going to drag down and chain for, let's say 10 kilometer, chain for 15. Select the kilometer and decrease the opacity to 60%. Same thing for the goal, decrease to 60. Make sure that the spacing is 20 as well. Now let's select everything and group together, Command G, and rename press bar again, and voila, we just create the second screen from scratch.
Modal are great for short iteration. It presents just enough information to make quick decision and complete a self-content task. In this section, we will create a modal layout for a daily goal. With the stepper, we will use expand since there's a lot of space. Using this width style allow you to fill the empty space and keep the size proportional.
Duplicate the screen and remove all the elements and keep only the status bar and the home indicator. Now let's create the blurred background. Create a novel 536 by 676. Remove the border. Fill with this purple. Increase the opacity to 50% and add blur to 50 and position to -60 to 168. Now let's create a modal body and a drag handle that we will place at the top of the rectangle.
Create a rectangle
390 by 544. Let's align center and align bottom. Remove the border. Fill the rectangle to this color. Decrease the opacity to 20%. Add the background blur to 20. Add the first shadow with black. Decrease the opacity to 12. And for the X position is 0, 0. And blur 20. And we're going to add the second shadow with the same color, but this time the opacity is going to be 40%. X position 0, Y position -20, and blur 40. Now let's create a drag handle. Create a rectangle 45 by 5. Fill with white. Remove the border. Add the blending mode to overlay, and corner radius is going to be 3. Let's place at the middle. For the X position is 172, and for the Y position 308.
Let's add the corner radius on the top of this rectangle.
So select the 2-point radius 20. Now let's add the content with the text using expanded width style. Press T, write your daily, give a space, move goal, and use SF Pro expanded semi-bold 38. Write the second text, the description. I'm just gonna copy the text and paste here. For this description, use SF Pro regular 17 and decrease the opacity to 60. Spacing between both is 20. Let's align. Group them by Command G. Name goal description. And for the X position is 44 and the Y position is 350. Now let's create the input stepper. We're going to create the symbol minus and plus. So we will need the SF symbol. Search for minus circle.fill. Command C. So press T and paste. Command V. For the symbol, use SF Pro medium 44. Then right-click convert to outline. When using convert to outline, the layer will become a vector with a separate shape.
It will create decimal digit.
So we're going to change manually to 44 by 44. Select the shape layer, ungroup to edit the shape separately. we're going to add a linear gradient on this circle. So for the top color, it's going to be this orange. And for the bottom, it's going to be this pink. For the X position, it's going to be 49. And Y position, 578. Repeat the same thing with the plus circle symbol. I'm going to make it fast. There we go. And let's put at the right, the position for this plus is going to be 296. And the Y position is 578. Now let's add another text in the middle. Write 300 and use SF Pro Expanded Bold 65. Write another text, calories per day. And this time use SF Pro Expanded Regular 17. Now let's create a button. Press R and create a rectangle 350 by 52. Align center, change for white color, corner radius to 24, opacity 20, change the color border to white, one width, add the blending mode to overlay, and add background blur to 20. Let's add the first shadow with black color and the opacity decrease to 20, 20 to Y position for the blur 40. And add the second shadow with the same color but decrease to 12, Y position to 10, and blur 20. Let's add a text. So write chain move goal using SF Pro Expanded Semi-Bold 17. Select the rectangle and the text, align center, group them, Command G, and then button. And let's position to 20. And for the Y position, 727. So the model is done. Now let's add this beautiful background button with the sound effect that we're going to copy from this progress ring. We only need to modify a little bit, resize some element, and pass on this design. For this section, we're not going to design the background button from scratch, since it's similar to the progress ring from the second screen. I made some small change on the size and opacity. I have already prepared for you in the asset file. Don't forget to group everything together. So let's group all these elements, Command G, and name Modal. And let's bring the circular. Make sure to put on the back of the model. All you have to do is X position at 5 and Y position 50. And voila, the third screen is done for the model.
When you transition through a hierarchy navigation, a view push, which means the person had tapped on an element and the next screen slide into view from right to left. As for the modal, separate from bottom on the top. This is everything we have created together so far. I hope this deep dive was helpful for you when designing a navigation for your iOS apps. Things about how the content is organized, how people interact with your functionality, and how to best represent in relation to your hierarchy so people can easily interact with your app. Hope you decide to try Sketch, a great tool for designing for iOS. Thank you so much for taking this course. I hope you enjoyed everything that you have learned today. Give us a shout out on YouTube. I will see you in the next course. Bye guys!